So I got into an argument on Twitter yesterday, I think it was, that really made me laugh. I've seen this idea come up a couple of times, and I've kind of made fun of it as like some kind of game journalist hot take. But this is something I think like Sony fanboys are starting to say as well, and I suppose this is how the gaming journalism works, right? They sort of establish a ridiculous idea in the mainstream, and then like the Sony fanboys sort of just pick it up. We kind of saw this with like Final Fantasy VII not being on Nintendo. We've seen this with like Nintendo not being this myth that Nintendo can't run these major third-party games. These are ideas pushed forward by the gaming media, and then like these fanboys sort of attach themselves to it. So the one I've been noticing over the past couple of years, Bloodborne, the 2015 PlayStation 4 exclusive, the only game that anyone on the console seems to care about. Bloodborne is one of the best games ever made, according to these people. Not Ocarina of Time, not Super Mario Bros. 3, not Super Metroid, not The Wonderful 101, not Pikmin 3, not Super Mario Odyssey, not Super Mario 64. Like, fucking Bloodborne. A rehash of the Souls formula. Like, I don't understand. What is with this obsession with Souls? I'll tell you what it is. It's because they have nothing else to play. Like, that's really all there is to it. Like, the entire appeal of Souls is that it's basically a poor man's action RPG, right? Like a poor man's Zelda for people who don't understand the appeal of Zelda, who don't understand that Zelda is better, right? Who have never played Zelda, who don't know about, like, the classic games, who don't know about Zelda 1, 2, the Oracle games, like, any of this. Like, I don't understand how we have, like, how many Soulsborne games are there now? Like, at least 7, right? Like, 6 or 7, like, including Sekiro, right? Like, how many Soulsborne games do we have that are all very, very similar from, like, a fundamental standpoint? How long is it going to be until people address the fact that the series is old, stale, and tired? Like, Dark Souls wasn't very good to begin with, right? Like, the only reason people latched onto it is because they needed something to play in the 2011, something to play on PS3, right? They needed something to hype up and talk about, and because Dark Souls wasn't a cinematic, story-driven game, it kind of stuck out. Like, Dark Souls, for all of its flaws, is indeed an actual video game, right? As opposed to what The Last of Us was trying to do. So, people who, you were basically starved for options, right? Like, if you were a PlayStation gamer, an Xbox gamer around that time, if you didn't have a Wii, you were stuck playing shit like Skyrim and Dark Souls instead of Little King's Story or The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Like, you were stuck with absolute bullshit for the entire PS3 generation. Then you went on to PS4, and now you're doing the same thing with PS5. Sony. If Sony buys From Software, that would totally be on par with Xbox buying Bethesda. No. From Software is a one-trick pony, okay? They've only been able to make Souls clones. They're not going to bring Armored Core back. They're not going to bring Tenchu back. They're not going to do shit. They had a one-hit wonder that just hasn't died yet. Like, this is my... it just came to me. Dark Souls has hollowed. Like, Dark Souls has hollowed. It is in the process of becoming a hollow, right? It is being reborn again and again until it is finally ready to just give up and die. Ready for its flame to be extinguished. Like, that's Dark Souls at this moment. Anyone who says that, like, Bloodborne is one of the best games ever, that Dark Souls is unique and innovative, that it really pushed boundaries, that it, like, really, really inspired creators to make certain kinds of games, full of shit. Like, people say Hollow Knight was inspired by a Dark Souls. No, it was more inspired by Nintendo exclusive games like Pikmin and The Legend of Zelda 2, right? The Adventure of Link, right? Like, those influences are way more prevalent and way more clear than the Dark Souls inspirations, right? Like, Like, this is the pattern we've been seeing with, like, Wargroove, with Blazing Chrome, with, like, I guess even Stardew Valley. Like, everyone is imitating these classic Nintendo games because they're better and people want more of it, right? Like, nobody wants more more of this Bloodborne stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there aren't enough players. Like, people only latch on to Bloodborne and Sekiro in order to sort of, like, prove that they're hardcore gamers. Like, they're trying to prove something to the community. Like, if you don't buy this game, you're not a real gamer. That's the Sekiro audience. That's the Bloodborne audience. That's the Dark Souls audience. Like, they're essentially a group of people who are trying to convince themselves that they have some sort of status in this community. Like, that's the vast majority of these PlayStation fanboys online, is that a bunch of posturing plebs who don't know the first thing about games, right? Like, anyone who says that Bloodborne or even Dark Souls is one of the best games ever made is completely full of shit. Those people simply need to play more video games on Nintendo consoles. Those people need to play more Nintendo, period.